Hey boys and girls, welcome back. I got a pattern here that's been getting a lot of publicity. This is Cory from Old Dominion Trout Pond. This is his Jack Daniels. How this fly is made, if you've ever seen him tie it on YouTube or something like that, he is, extremely specific about, the colors and the wraps and things along that line. And, what he went through the process of developing his fly, trying different colors, trying different threads, things along that line. And the one that he, stuck with was this Danville's beige. When you put it on here, it looks tannish, yellowish. When you put some UV on it, it does darken up a little bit. So what we have on the front, 2.5 millimeter copper bead. Those are by Munn. The hook that we're using is size 18, 50-45. That's a jig hook by Fulling Mill. I showed you that. And the dubbing that we're using, Hare's Ear Plus, has a little bit of plastic in it, but you can trim that up. You're gonna need a marker, a black marker. This one's like charcoal, it does the same thing. And some CDC. What you have here, if you brush this type of thing out, this one I trimmed up a lot. Compared to, say, this one, got a little bit more fluff to it. I think that's a preference. So you don't need an awful lot, and we actually measure how much we're putting on just to try to limit that a little bit. So again, another Frenchie pattern that has really been doing well. Let's get into this here and we'll get things set up here. I'll try to tell you how Cory said he does it. So this Danville's thread, this is like 6/0. So you do have to be conscious of the number of wraps that you're putting on. I go back just to the inside the hook point there. And tails that we're using, oh yeah, that's the other thing. Dun colored Fibbits. That's what I'm putting on this one. You can select out 4 or 5 of them, unless you wanted to get specific and splay them out. So we're going to tie that in right at the back of the hook with a couple loose open wraps. I did not tack that bead down. I'll show you that in a second. Alright, we're going to make those the way we want them. And then we're going to put some open wraps till we get up to the bead. Now we're just going to, since this is regular thread, you do want to pay attention to spinning that thread counterclockwise to flatten it out. Your underbody will be the better for it. And what we want to do is stop. He says to stop, an eye length or so back from the bead. You notice I didn't tack that down. Spin that out again. All we're doing is building a taper here, which really doesn't take too much with this 6/0 thread. A couple trips down and back, and you more or less got your body. Just to try to even things out a little bit. That's looking good. And you spin your thread and go the whole way back to the tails. If you want to flare those, you can. Then you get your marker. And black is good. You want that contrast, but you really only need about 1 inch or so of thread covered. Once I put that on, I let that hang for a minute or so. Then if you have a little bit of yellow left, just wrap that around the bottom. And then you're just gonna start making those tight open wraps to create that segmentation. And just go the whole way up to the head there. Okay, once you get up to that, we're gonna tie that off. And UV this body. So we can see how kind of yellowish it looks with that black contrast. That's the idea. I just put very light UV on this. And you can see how it is darkening it up a little bit. It almost makes it a little bit like it looks transparent. Okay. Take off any excess that you don't want on there. And then we're gonna cook it. And that's just to protect this regular thread. It should be more than enough. Fish really aren't taking a bite of a bug this size, so okay. Now, in his, I've seen a couple other guys do this to where they'll do like a dubbing loop, and you know, if you create, you know, a dubbing loop like this, they'll dub on one side and then put the CDC in there, spin that up and wrap it. I found that that's kind of hard to do when you have dubbing on there. The thread just really isn't, I don't think, strong enough to hold all that. So I'm doing it separately. I just have a little tiny amount of this black. I'm gonna put that on first. But the reason these, you know, use the dubbing to keep this bead in place, create that little divot that's in there by keeping it, you know, a hook eye or so back. That just gives your dubbing and your CDC some type of place that it can gain purchase. If you've ever tried to put UV on a bug and then try to tie a knot after that, a lot of times it's not going to seat behind the bead because it's too hard. So that was kind of his thinking on that. Like I said, this is a very small bug, so we're just gonna try to get a decent sized collar in there. Okay. Now we can tie that off, fish it like that. Probably work just as good, or close to good. But as far as the CDC goes, put it in a clip. You can see I have little marks on here. These are 1/4 inches. I wouldn't say that you put more than a 1/2 inch in there. I would even tell you a 1/4. Just to try to pull some of those out a little bit. Spin that out. Yeah, that's definitely too much. We'll groom it a little. I'm gonna spin that up there, twist this counterclockwise, let it spin out, cord up that section of the string, and we're just going to wrap this on. We're just tucking everything right behind that bead. You want to seat that string. Can't really pull on this thread too much because it's not now silk. So you gotta be careful there if you're used to using that kind of stuff. You kind of get used to the strength of it, and when you go back to regular string, yeah, it just doesn't hold up. Okay, so that's the Jack Daniels. You can see how buggy this is. That's not normal. So I said we had a little bit too much. I'm just gonna pull out some of these longer fibers first. Definitely don't want the fibers longer than your body. So once you get them to a respectable distance, you can come in and trim that up a little bit. Pull out some of those longer fibers, pinch the ends off. And there you go, that one's a little bit buggy, but that's okay. All these will fold down over there. I like to try to keep them short enough that they're not going to reach the tails. Like that. And the CDC I'm using here is like a dun color also, similar to what the tails are. So there you go. Old Dominion trout bum. The Jack Daniels. Go fish them. You'll catch some fish. It's an easy pattern. CDC is what the extra is to just a Frenchie body. So it works. Copper bead. Stick with that. That's what he says. All right, guys. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you again here in a week or so.